Hello and welcome to Nikolai's genetics lessons, and today's problem is 4 polygenic loci, each with 2 alleles, affect the quantitative phenotype internode length of the plant Mimulus guttatus. If each allele has the same additive effect, the number of different classes of internode length will be. So how we are going to solve this problem? First of all, we are not going to build a huge Punnett square, but we will try to solve this problem using math and logic. So imagine that we have just one gene and 2 alleles. So 2 alleles. So we are going to get a Punnett square, which is going to be 2 by 2. So would have 4 combinations and 4 cells. Again, imagine the 2 alleles are dominant allele A and recessive allele A. If we build a Punnett square, we are going to get following variants of the genotypes and phenotypes. And in quantitative phenotype, genotype equals phenotype. I will explain in a second. So capital A here, capital A, small a here, capital A, small a here, and small a here. Imagine that, for example, dominant allele would give, say, 2 centimeters to the internode space or distance, and recessive allele would give 1 centimeter. And now let's find out what different genotypes and phenotypes we may have here. For example, genotype capital A would give us phenotype that would have 4 centimeters of the internode space, and genotype that is heterozygous would give us 3 centimeters, and a genotype that is homozygous recessive would give us 2 centimeters. So again, 2 centimeters, and then this 2 would give us 3 centimeters, and this one would give us 4 centimeters. So we would have 3 genotypes and 3 phenotypes here, because this is a quantitative trait. One more time, one gene with 2 alleles would give us Punnett square that is going to be 2 by 2, would have 4 cells, and would give us one more time 3 distinctive genotypes and phenotypes, or we also can say classes. So according to our problem, we have to find number of different classes of the internode length. So just one gene would give us 3 classes. Now let's follow the logic. With 2 genes and 2 alleles for each gene, so total number would be 4 alleles. For example, in this case, in the first case we had gene A with 2 alleles. In this case we would have gene B and also gene A. Each one would be with 2 alleles. And our Punnett square would be 4 by 4 and would have 16 cells. I'm not going to show you this Punnett square. You should remember it. It should remind the Punnett square that we should get of the dihybrid cross when we cross 2 dihybrid plants. For example, whose genotype would be, say, capital A, small a, capital B, small b, and if we cross these two genotypes, which we call dihybrid cross, we are going to get square which is going to be 4 by 4 with 16 cells. Now you see how our numbers change. For example, from 4, now it's changed to 16. From 2 by 2, it's changed to 4 by 4. Now let's follow this logic. So if we would have 3 genes, so 3 genes, in this case we would have how many alleles? 6 alleles. Again, this can be gene A, B, and C. And if each gene would be represented by 2 alleles, we may have a cross, for example, capital A, small a, capital B, small b, capital C, small c, and if we cross with the same genotype, which we can call trihybrid cross, so capital C and small c, so instead of 4 by 4, we are going to get a Punnett square that is going to be 8 by 8, and we are going to get 64 cells. And let's return to our problem. We are told that we have 4 polygenic loci. So let's continue. So if we would have 4 genes, so 4 genes would give us 8 alleles, and alleles can be A, B, C, and D. And I'm not going to write possible a possible cross, because this is obvious from my previous 3 examples what we should do. And this time we are going to get a Punnett square that is going to be 16 by 16 cells. So this is going to be 256 cells in such a Punnett square. So as you see, if we would write such a large Punnett square, this is going to take us a lot of time to fill such Punnett square and to find all possible combinations and divide them to certain classes. So we are going to use today Pascal's triangle. So we would need this number. You would find out later in a second. So let's now build Pascal's triangle. As you remember, we have 1 on top, 1 and 1 in the next row, and the first row called row 0, then first row, and also I will put here a number of combinations. So in the 0 row we have only 1 combination. In the second row we have 2 combinations, and again, what these numbers stand for. For example, imagine we have a coin which on both sides has only heads. No matter how many times we would throw such coin, we always would get one variant, and this is going to be only heads. But if we would have a normal coin with heads and tails, every time we would throw, we would have one chance that this is going to be heads, and another variant that is going to be tails. So 2 variants possible. Both has equal probability. we also can say that ratio going to be 1 to 1. Now let's take a look what we are going to have in the next row. Once again, every row begins and ends with a 1. But this time we also would have to put a new number here. That is going to be a combination of these two numbers from the previous row. So we have to put 2 here. And again, here's a logic. If we add all these numbers, we are going to get 4. Now you can say that next row, according to this logic, would have 8 combinations. But let's take a time and let me. So this is row number 2. So what basically these numbers tell us? If we would throw coins twice, so what variants we may have? First variant would be we can get 2 heads. Second variant, we may have heads and tails, and tails and heads. And the third combination would be 2 tails. So as you see, ratio would be as 1 to 2 to 1, exactly what we see here. Now let's complete next row, which is going to be row number 3. Every row starts with 1 and ends with 1, but this time we have to fill 2 numbers here, and this is going to be 3 and 3. So this time imagine we throw a coin 3 times, and number of combinations can be one combination that it's going to be 3 heads, one combination it's going to be that it's going to be 3 tails, and we also would have 3 combinations where we would see 1 head and 2 tails, and 3 combinations we would see when we would have 2 tails and 1 head. So now I hope you understand the logic. I'm not going to explain every row that we would finish here, and basically what we are looking for number of combinations that would produce 256 combinations here on the side. So now let's move faster. So next row would be row number 4. 1 here, 1 here, 16 here on the side, 16 possible combinations, and let's put numbers here. So 4, 6 and 4. Next row, once again we are looking for 256. Row number 5, 1 on the side, 5 and 10, 10, 5 and 1 here, and if you add all these numbers we are going to get 32. Next row. Someone may think that this time consuming, but actually if I wouldn't explain what I'm doing, I can finish such triangle within 1 minute. So this is actually saving the time. Now let's put numbers here. That is going to be a sum of the numbers from the top row. Once again we are going to get 64 here, and numbers would be as follows: 6, 15, 20, 15 and 6. Now we also have to combine numbers for the next row, and this is going to be row number 7. We start with 1, then 6, 21, 35, 35, and 21, 7, and 1. And we are going to get here 128 combinations. So now you know that next row would be the row that is going to give us 256 combinations. So let's find how many classes we would have. So this is going to be row number 8. We start with 1, and number is going to be as follows: 8, 28, 56, 70, 56, 28, and 8, and 1. So if we combine all these numbers, we are going to get 256 combinations. So now let's find how many classes we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 classes. So this is going to be our answer today. Let's return to our problem. And this is, as you see, answer B. So this is going to be our answer, but let me again return to our triangle, Pascal's triangle, and again I want to explain you what we see in the last row. So basically the last row here would represent, for example, if we have 4 alleles, this is going to be a genotype where all alleles would be dominant. So capital A, capital A, capital B, capital B, capital C, and capital D, capital D. And another variant, extreme variant, would be when all 4 alleles would be recessive. So small a, small b, small b, small c, small d, small d. And for example, this variant would be where we would have one recessive allele. So small a, capital A, capital B, capital B, capital C, capital D, and capital D. And we would have 4 such different combinations. For example, second combination can be capital A, small a, capital B, capital B, capital C, capital D, capital D. Another combination can be capital A, small b, capital B, capital C, capital D, capital D. So we have 3 combinations: capital A, capital B, small b, capital C, capital D, and capital D. Next variant: capital A, capital B, small c, capital C, capital D, and capital D. Another variant: capital A, capital B, capital C, small c, capital D, capital D. Another variant: capital A, capital B, capital C, small d, capital D. And the last variant: capital A, capital B, capital C, capital D, and small d. So one more time, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 combinations. So 8 combinations, how we may have 7 dominant alleles and 1 recessive. And also, so as you see, we have 8 such variants. 1 variant when all alleles would be dominant, 8 variants when 7 alleles would be dominant and 1 recessive. And also you can predict that this 8 stands for 7 recessive alleles and 1 dominant allele. Is there another way how we can solve this problem? And now you can see that basically we can solve this problem just by listing all possible combinations. So instead of using Pascal's triangle, we can say first variant would be 8 dominant allele, 0 recessive allele. Second variant would be 7 dominant alleles and 1 recessive allele. Third variant would be 6 dominant alleles, 2 recessive alleles. Fourth combination would be 5 dominant alleles and 3 recessive alleles. Fifth combination would be 4 dominant alleles and 4 recessive alleles. Next combination can be 3 dominant allele and 5 recessive alleles. Seventh combination would be 2 dominant alleles and 6 recessive alleles. And 2 more combinations would be, so combination number 8 would be 1 dominant allele and 7 recessive alleles. And the last combination would be 0 dominant alleles and 8 recessive alleles. So as you see, again we got 9 different classes. And of course every class would be represented with different frequency. This method of listing different variants is faster, but this doesn't give us information how many or what is the frequency would be for each combination. But if we build Pascal's triangle, we not only can say how many classes we have, but also we can say what frequency would be of each class. And this is all for today. Thank you for your attention. Please subscribe for my new videos that I post almost every day. Thumbs up if you like this video. Please write your comments, questions if you have any. Share this video with your classmates and see you in the next video. Goodbye.